What's going on, my Jack brother? Coach Scott here. In today's video, we're gonna talk about anti-fragile fat loss, and I am absolutely stoked to share some very inspiring examples to really drill home this message. Now, for most of us, when we first embark on a fat loss journey, we're a little more fragile, meaning that when we face the smallest of challenges or obstacles, they can break us easily. Maybe we'll do good for a few days, we have a cookie or two and go, oh, fuck it, here I go again. Every time I start doing well on my diet, I always find a way to sabotage myself. And the next thing you know, you're eating the entire box, telling yourself you're gonna start again tomorrow or Monday, or maybe even just throwing in the towel altogether. You're just not meant to be a good dieter. You're not meant to be lean. And then for some of us, we reach that point where we're like, enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of this yo-yoing back and forth, this self-sabotage, and you become more aware of why it's important for you to persevere, to achieve your goal of getting lean and living your life to the fullest with confidence, pride, zest, and vitality. So you become more resilient in these situations. You become tougher when you're faced with these temptations, and you don't allow them to break you. And that's a stage I was at 11 years ago when I lost that 50 pounds of fat. I became resilient. I adopted what I refer to as an unstoppable mindset, that whenever I would be faced with these temptations, faced with these challenges and these obstacles, I would either find a way to go around it, go over it, go under it, or just blast my way through it. Now, being resilient can help you achieve your short-term goals. But if you want to experience long-term success, you want to become anti-fragile. The difference here is that when you face a challenge or obstacle, you learn and grow from the experience. You become stronger than ever before. So rather than facing a setback and beating yourself up and feeling guilty, you actually get excited when you face an obstacle or a challenge, because you know this is an opportunity to learn and grow. You face that setback, you cave into a temptation, you think to yourself, all right, what can I do differently the next time? How can I improve upon this situation when I'm faced with it again in the future? Because we know we're gonna face challenges and obstacles. How can we handle them better? How can we learn and grow? And that makes us stronger, so the next time we face it, we can handle it much better, and it's gonna propel us forward. Same thing like when you are resilient. Say you're able to tough through it and you face that challenge, you don't allow it to break you. Maybe you're relying on willpower. So you think to yourself, again, all right, I got through this challenge this time, but what can I learn from this experience? Again, even though it was successful, how can I become even better the next time I go through it? So rather than being fragile or even just resilient, become anti-fragile so you can learn and grow and just become better and better and better exponentially as time goes on. So not only are you gonna get lean, you're gonna be able to stay lean and continue to improve upon your physique, your health, your overall well-being, just getting more out of life, really being able to live your life to the fullest. So the first example of being anti-fragile is the experience I shared a couple months ago when I came back from vacation. My son was staying here watching after Chief. I had bought him a whole bunch of treats to enjoy while I was gone. I come home, he hardly ate any of it. So I had all these temptations in the house, and I thought to myself, you know, I'll be okay. I can spread these treats over the next couple of weeks, and next thing you know, I start dipping into it. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna eat it all right now, get it out of the way, and then I'll start again fresh the next day, which is the mindset that I used to have 11, 12 years ago when I struggled for years and years to lose that 50 pounds of fat. So I thought to myself, it's been a long time since I've caved into temptations like that. Like, this still needs work. Like, what can I learn and grow from this experience? I mean, I could have just sent him home with all of those treats, but I thought to myself, it'd be really an even better idea would be to give it to the homeless. So what do you know, like a couple days later, my daughter comes home, she works at a bulk food store. They were getting rid of their Easter candy, they were just gonna throw it out. So they told their employees that they could take whatever they want home. So she knows I love those chocolate mini eggs and cinnamon hearts. And so she brought a whole bunch, like bags of it home to me. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like I just caved into all those temptations. I don't need any more these treats in my house right now. So what did I do? Put them in Ziploc bags, little notes inside, went downtown, started handing it out to the homeless. What a freaking experience. I mean, that was really a life-altering experience for me. Not only was it humbling and eye-opening, but it filled me with great joy and just makes me want to become even more passionate about giving to others and making a positive impact on the world and realizing how connected we are to everyone around us. So if I hadn't caved into those temptations in my house here, that wouldn't have led to that experience of handing that food out, those candies out to the homeless there. So I'm grateful for that experience. The second example of being anti-fragile comes from Jeff, one of the members of the Jacked at 40 Club, who shared a post about one of his experiences earlier this week. He works from home, had to go into the office, and was surprised with some breakfast burritos and some cookies, and he was able to pass on those temptations. Now that is a good example of being resilient, but what makes his experience anti-fragile, shows that he is anti-fragile, is his mindset towards that experience, that he prefers, like, he knows it was like there's nothing bad about those foods. He can eat those foods if he wants to. You just knew that it's going to be a fair amount of calories. He would have to modify his nutrition the rest of the day, or maybe for the following day and following days, to kind of balance things out there. But he prefers to be active in his food eating decisions rather than reactive. Now, that right there is an example of a growth mindset. That's not something you start on a fat loss journey and think to yourself, no, I'm only going to be active in my food choices that I make. I'm not going to be reactive in these kind of situations where I'm faced with temptations. Like that is a clear sign that he has learned from past experiences where he has given into temptations and realizing that, you know, that's just not the way to go. And to me, like, that is pure freaking gold. And I find that when you are active in your food choices, like you decide yourself, I want to have a breakfast burrito, I'm going to have that tomorrow for breakfast, and you're planning it out ahead of time, you're going to savor every bite of that breakfast burrito. Like, it was a choice that you made yourself, that you knew you wanted to include in your nutrition plan that day. You're looking forward to it, you're going to savor every bite, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to be guilt-free. Whereas, like, if you get faced with that temptation in the moment, you kind of cave into it and think to yourself, all right, now I got to juggle things around, modify things around, you may not savor that experience as much. You're not going to have the same kind of feelings towards eating that breakfast burrito when you're being reactive to it as opposed to being active from it. So fantastic example. He nailed it. It was a fantastic share. The third example of anti-fragile fat loss comes from Frank, who's one of my one-on-one coaching clients. I noticed a couple of weeks ago on a Monday morning that his weight spiked up a little bit. I looked at his food journal, really didn't see anything that should have caused that weight spike. So I sent him a message asking how things are going, how his sleep has been, how his stress has been. And he responded back saying that he didn't record everything that he ate. He was out that night with his buddies watching the Ohio State football game. He had brought some beef jerky and water with him, but once that pizza came out, the beer, the brownies, he just couldn't resist, but he's back at it today. Now, although that was a setback for him, I see that as an anti-fragile experience. First of all, he had learned from previous experiences that if he brings beef jerky and water with him, he's able to resist the temptations. Like, that curbs his craving. He can still have a blast, have fun, and enjoy that experience to the fullest. Whereas this time, it didn't work in this experience. It happens to the best of us. That's what I let him know. And again, he's like, no worries. It happened. I'm ready to move on. I'm back at it today. And it was great to hear him. Like, he enjoyed it. It was a great game. And he looked at some of the positive. He got a lift in that day, hit his 12,000 steps, and just no worries at all. So those are like anti-fragile experiences right there. And I let him know, like, dude, like, it really, for having pizza, beer, and brownies, really didn't do that much damage. It really wasn't much of a spike in weight at all. And again, he looked at this as a positive experience. Like, looking back at past experiences, he like, dude, like, in the past, like, I would have had 6 beers and I would have really overeaten, done a whole bunch of damage, but it was like, he was able to keep things in check. So this has been a great anti-fragile experience for him, that even when he slips up, has a little setback, he's not doing the kind of damage that he used to do in the past. It may take like 4, 5, 6 days to make up for him. Here he can make up for it in one day, basically. It was easy to balance things out. The fourth example of anti-fragile fat loss comes from Tom, another one of my one-on-one coaching clients, who recently shared that his attempt to bump up his carbs a little bit backfired on him, that once he had those carbs, it just increased his appetite. He couldn't control himself, ended up having a whole bunch of junk, so much so that he didn't even eat dinner that night to kind of balance things out there. Just having an awareness that when he's got to be careful with carbs. When he bumps them up a little bit, it just makes him want to eat cake. So it was a learning experience for him. I'm like, what the heck's going on, dude? We didn't talk about trying to bump up your carbs here. What did you do? And he's like, well, I just was seeing other people, like, he sees that I have oats with my pre-workout meal. He sees that other people have oats for breakfast or granola for breakfast. And he thought, well, they're in shape. They must be working somewhat for them. So when he started adding oats or granola to his diet in the morning there, it spiked his appetite. But I let him know that, dude, like, it might not be the granola or the carbs, the oats or anything like that. It could be like lack of sleep can increase your appetite. If you're dehydrated, it can increase your appetite. Stress can increase your appetite. So there's a lot of different factors that come into play that may have caused this, that may not necessarily be related to carbs. So you gotta continue to have this heightened sense of awareness. And this is where he has become anti-fragile, just having this heightened sense of awareness that he didn't realize like how much stress has been impacting him. He's been working on managing that, working on trying to improve his sleep, just shifting his schedule around. Like he's being very proactive with trying to do all of the right things to move him forward. So when he has an experience like this, it's like, oh wow, like wasn't expecting this to happen. I've been on the roll here. And again, it's an opportunity to learn and grow, not beat yourself up, not feel guilty about. And again, he's looking at all the positives here, and even how he's been incorporating yoga at the end of the night, and not only how that can help him improve his sleep, stress management, but it's also he's waking up less stiff. So he's got a great heightened sense of awareness, and he's been proactive, like I said, with so many different things. He just recently shared with me yesterday morning that he's even put a fridge in his Jeep. So he's working 2 jobs, and in between jobs, he doesn't have a lot of time to go home, prepare a meal or anything like that. So he has his food ready in his fridge. He's basically eliminating the opportunity to like go and get some fast food, get something on the go there. At least he can control what's going into his body at this point. So he's being very proactive, doing all of the right things here, learning and growing, not taking that experience as necessarily a setback, but learning from it. And again, having that heightened sense of awareness. All right, if he is getting great sleep, if his stress is all good, and he does bump up his carbs a little bit, and that does increase his appetite a bit more, all right, he's got it. That's him. He's got to listen to his body. And again, that is the anti-fragile approach, to learn and grow from these experiences and learn what is going to work best for you, how you can handle these situations better in the future or prevent them from ever happening again in the future. And now I'd love to hear from you. How do you handle obstacles, challenges, and setbacks? Are you fragile? Are you resilient? Or are you anti-fragile? And if you have had some experiences where you've handled it in an anti-fragile way, where you have learned, grown, and become stronger from those experiences, I'd love for you to share them in a comment down below so we can learn and grow together. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. If you know a fellow bro who would benefit from watching today's video, please do me a favor and share it with them. And before you go, don't forget to download your free guide, Lose Fat, Get Jacked. Have yourself an amazing day. Catch you next video.